The air smelled cold and strange. Lights blinked softly above him, casting a blue glow across the walls. He sat up slowly, his head pounding. He didn't know where he was. His name was Eli, just a regular technician on a cargo ship. He had no weapons, no military training, no secrets, but now he was locked inside a small alien cell. The walls were smooth and shining, made of a silver material he had never seen before. Strange symbols glowed on the door, changing color every few seconds. He tried to touch them, but the door zapped him with a light electric shock. "Do not move," a voice said from above, cold and sharp. Eli looked up, confused. "Where am I?" he asked. No one replied. Minutes passed, maybe hours. Finally, the door opened with a loud hiss. 4 tall alien guards entered, all female, all wearing silver armor and sharp helmets. Their skin was a shade of deep blue, and their eyes glowed white. One of them pointed a weapon at him. "Stand," she said. Eli stood, scared but curious. They led him through long hallways filled with strange sounds and flashing lights. Other prisoners stared at him from their cells, some shocked, some afraid. He realized something odd. They were all female, all aliens, and all staring at him. Loud alarm echoed through the prison. A voice repeated in their alien language, fast and urgent. The guards moved quickly, pushing him into a bright room with a round table. A group of alien women stood waiting, leaders maybe. One of them, older and taller than the rest, stepped forward. She wore a long red robe and had silver tattoos running across her face. She stared at him with cold curiosity. "You speak?" she asked in rough but clear English. Eli nodded. "Yes. I'm not a threat. I don't know how I got here." She tilted her head. "You lie." "I'm not lying," Eli replied, his voice shaking. "You are the male they spoke of," she said. "The spy, the disruptor." Eli frowned. "What?" "I'm not a spy. I work on a cargo ship. I fix machines." They didn't believe him. For days, they kept him locked in a special cell. No windows, no clock, no voices. Only food and light came at regular times. He tried to remember what happened. His ship had received a distress signal near the edge of the Valari system, then a bright flash, and now this. One day, a new face appeared. A young Valari woman, wearing a white lab coat. She entered his cell alone, no guards. She looked at him for a long time before speaking. "My name is Vila. I am a scientist," she said. "I came to study." "You? Why?" Eli asked. "Because you are different," she said. "The prison is reacting to you." "What do you mean?" "The lights," she pointed. "The power grid near your cell. The machines, they behave strangely when you are near." Eli felt a chill run down his spine. "I'm just human," he said. "Perhaps," she replied. "But the ancient texts warned of one like you." She handed him a small crystal cube, glowing with soft light. When Eli touched it, symbols appeared in the air, moving and spinning. Vila stepped back, in shock. "That should not happen," she whispered. "What is this thing?" "It's a memory stone," she said. "Only Valari can activate it." Eli felt dizzy. Images rushed into his mind, flashes of alien war, ancient machines, and a burning planet. He dropped the cube, gasping for air. Vila stared at him with wide eyes. "You might be the one from the old prophecy," she said. Eli shook his head. "I'm just a technician." "You are in an all-female Valari prison," she said slowly. "No male has ever set foot here, and yet you opened the stone." That night, Eli couldn't sleep. He sat in the corner of his cell, thinking. Something strange was happening, and he had no idea what it meant. He heard whispers from the next cell, soft voices in the Valari tongue, but for some reason he understood. One voice said, "If he's really the one, we're already too late." Eli's eyes widened. What did that mean? What was he really doing here? And why did the prison respond to him? He was locked up, but it felt like something far bigger was just beginning. Asterisk flames rose high into a red sky. Screams echoed across a battlefield of steel and ash. Strange ships hovered above. firing beams of blue light at a burning city. Eli stood among alien warriors, holding a weapon he didn't recognize. He looked down at his arms. They were not his. They glowed with strange symbols, moving like liquid fire. Under his skin, a voice called out to him in a forgotten tongue. "Guardian, awaken!" Eli gasped and shot up from his sleep. His heart pounded like a drum, his skin cold with sweat. He looked around, confused. Still the same alien prison cell, still the humming lights. But the dream felt too real, too detailed to be just imagination. The door opened again, this time. No guards, only Villa, the young Valari scientist from before. She walked in silently, carrying a device in her hand. "You dreamed again, didn't you?" she said, not asking, but knowing. Eli nodded slowly. "How did you know?" The prison sensors detected brain activity abnormal for humans. He stood up. "That wasn't just a dream." "I believe you," she said, surprising him. Eli frowned. "What's happening to me?" Vela looked at him carefully, then sighed. "Come with me." They moved through hidden corridors of the prison, not the usual routes with cameras and guards. These were old, dusty, unused for years. Symbols on the walls matched the ones Eli had seen in his dream. "What is this place?" he asked. "The old temple," Vela whispered. "It was sealed before I was born." They reached a circular chamber filled with glowing stones and ancient carvings. In the center stood a tall pillar with a hollow crystal at its top. "This is the heart of the Watchers," she said. "It listens." "To what?" "To destiny." Vela activated the crystal with her hand, but nothing happened. Then she motioned Eli forward. He hesitated, then touched it. The crystal pulsed with golden light, and the floor beneath them vibrated gently. A holographic image appeared in the air, an old Valari elder, speaking in a slow, ancient voice. "In the final dusk of flame and shadow, a voice from the stars shall awaken the lock. The silent flame shall walk among the sisters, not to destroy, but to choose, to guide the forgotten, to bind the broken." The image faded. Eli stood frozen. Vela spoke softly. "The prophecy." "I don't believe in prophecies," Eli replied. "Neither did I," she said. "Until now." Back in the prison, rumors were already spreading. Some inmates spoke of the human who touched the heart. Others said the guards were planning to remove him permanently. In a dark corner of the prison, a group of inmates gathered in secret. One of them, Karail, the warrior with sharp eyes and scars, spoke in a low voice. "If he really unlocked the heart, he might be the key to our escape. But what if he's the weapon?" Another asked. Karail looked at the wall silently. "We wait and watch," she said. "If he is the one, the prison will change." Meanwhile, Eli sat in his cell again, his thoughts racing. He had no powers, no training, no plans. But everything around him was reacting machines flickered near him. Doors buzzed without reason. He could even understand the Valari language now, not fluently, but enough to catch meaning. That night, another vision came, not a dream, but a voice in the dark, a deep voice, calm and clear. "You were not brought here by accident. You were awakened." Eli opened his eyes. No one was there, but something new glowed on his arm, a small mark, the same symbol from the heart. He covered it quickly as footsteps approached. A guard entered with orders. "The warden requests your presence," she said coldly. Eli followed her into a dark chamber filled with floating screens. The warden stood waiting tall, with silver armor and glowing red eyes. "You are becoming a problem," she said. "I didn't ask to be here," Eli replied. "Lies," the warden said. "Step in closer. You are not just here, you are changing us." She raised her hand and the lights dimmed. "You have two choices," she said. "Stay silent and disappear, or help us and die later." Eli looked at her, then glanced at the glowing screen showing the prison map. One section blinked with a warning: core instability detected. "Something's happening," he said. The warden narrowed her eyes. "Yes," she whispered, "and you are at the center of it." As he was taken back to his cell, Eli felt it again, a soft vibration in the walls, a pulse like a heartbeat. Not human, not Valari, something ancient was waking up beneath the prison, and somehow it knew his name. She remembered the sky before it burned. Karel had once seen her homeworld filled with golden light and flying creatures. Now she lived behind walls of steel. Every day was the same cold meals, silent stares, and the electric hum of control. Until he arrived, she had seen many strange things inside this prison, but nothing like the human. He was weak, soft, confused, but the walls listened to him. The doors trembled near him. The ancient systems whispered his name through vibrations only the old ones could feel. Karel watched from her corner cell as the human was dragged past. He didn't look like a warrior, yet something in his eyes said he would not die easily. Not before he changed everything. Eli sat alone in the meditation chamber Vela had unlocked for him. There were no guards inside, just silence and soft light from crystal panels. He was reading ancient Valari scripts projected from a tablet. To his shock, he could now understand some of the symbols without help. He placed his hand on one. It pulsed under his palm like it recognized him. It displayed a message. Power is not given, it is returned. Suddenly, the floor shifted. A panel opened behind the wall with a click, a secret passage. Eli stood up and stepped into the hidden hallway. Unsure why, it felt like something was pulling him, not fear but purpose, deep inside the lower chambers, where only the worst prisoners were kept. A meeting was taking place. Karel stood before a group of inmates, each marked with battle scars and glowing tattoos. "We've waited long enough," she said. "This prison is waking, and the guards don't understand it." "We do," said one of them. "The silent flame is here." Karel nodded slowly. "And if the prophecy is true, he will either free us or destroy us." Eli kept walking through the hidden tunnel until he reached a massive door. It had no handle, no lock, only ancient text glowing across its surface. He reached out and placed his hand on it. The symbols shifted, then the door split open with a low growl. Inside was a control room, unlike anything he had seen. Screens, floating glyphs, pulsing lights, everything reacting to his presence. He touched one of the floating controls and an old voice spoke. "Emergency protocol unlocked. Containment core unstable. Rebellion probability, 72%. Eli stepped back, shocked. Was this part of the prison meant to control riots? Or was it hiding something more dangerous? He turned and froze. Karel was standing at the entrance, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "You opened the eye of judgment," she said. "That place has been sealed for 100 cycles." Eli raised his hands. "I didn't mean to." Karel stepped closer. "You didn't mean to awaken the core either." "But you did." She paused, then added, "We don't have much time. The prison is preparing for lockdown." Eli looked at her, confused. "What are you saying?" Karel leaned in, voice low. "The warden will erase us all before she lets the prophecy come true." Later that night, a false alarm was triggered. Prison lights flickered red, and most guards were sent to the upper levels. Karel, Eli, and 4 others moved through the shadows. They reached the engineering shaft long abandoned, filled with dust and forgotten machines. Their goal, reach the core chamber beneath the prison, a place only mentioned in Valari myths. If the weapon below was truly waking up, they needed to see it before the warden did. Eli used the same strange control power to unlock doors. Karel watched carefully, still unsure if he was the hero or the threat. "Why are you helping us?" she finally asked. "Because I think I was brought here for a reason," Eli said. "And I don't want anyone else to die for it." Just as they reached the lower gate, alarms blared again, this time real. A security drone appeared, red eyes flashing, weapons charged. Karel pushed Eli behind cover. The others fought back with stolen tech weapons. Eli watched as one of them fell burned by a plasma shot. He wanted to run, but something in his mind clicked. He jumped up and shouted at the drone in the old Valari tongue. "Stand down, Guardian. Override, code ELI 73. The drone stopped, its weapons powered off. Then it spoke. Command accepted. The others stared at him in silence. Kirill stepped forward. You just gave an override order in our war language. Eli looked down at his shaking hands. I don't know how I knew, he whispered. Kirill looked at him differently, now not just as a prisoner, but as something more. They entered the chamber. And what they found made everyone stop, a giant machine. Shaped like a star with a beating core at its center, it pulsed in time with Eli's heart. As he stepped closer, the machine spoke. Guardian identified. Rebooting sequence initiated. The ground trembled beneath them, and far above, in the Warden's tower, red lights turned black. Asterisk, it had been silent for thousands of years, buried under layers of stone, metal, and secrets. But now the Guardian had returned. And the memory system began to wake. Images flickered in dark corridors, shadows of a time when Valari and humans had stood side by side, not as enemies, but as builders of peace. Then the fire came, not from within, but from beyond. The prison. Core stirred, whispering its story into the wires, waiting for someone to listen. Eli stood in front of the machine they had found. It was alive, pulsing like a heart. Each beat felt like it was syncing with his body. Kirill and the others watched in silence, unsure whether to trust or fear it. A platform rose from the floor, revealing a smooth, round seat. Words appeared. In glowing letters, Guardian interface active, access level, prime. I think it wants me to sit, Eli said, or feed you to itself, one of the rebels muttered. Kirill nodded once. Try it, Eli said. And the room darkened, a beam of light surrounded him. And then he was somewhere else, not physically but inside a memory. He stood in a council chamber filled with both human and Valari leaders. They spoke calmly, with respect. Plans were being made for a shared colony, for peace. Then the screen behind them blinked. A new signal entered the chamber, something alien, something wrong. A voice, smooth and echoing, filled the room. Peace is weakness, it said. Let us show you the truth. And then everything turned to chaos. Ships exploded. Cities fell. And both races blamed each other. But the machine showed Eli the truth. Someone else caused the war. A third race, unknown, hidden in the shadows, shaping history by making enemies of all eyes. Eli opened his eyes, gasping. The war, he whispered. It wasn't supposed to happen. Kirill frowned. What do you mean? There was peace once, Eli said. Humans and Valari were allies, until someone else made them fight. He touched the console again. More images appeared, files from the prison system. Look at this, he said. It showed logs from an old AI command. Interference detected. Origin. Species null. False conflict triggered. Guardian program locked. Kirill stepped closer. That's why they built the prison, Eli nodded. Not just to hold criminals, but to protect the core and keep the truth buried. Above them, in the Warden's tower, panic was spreading. Screens showed energy surging from the lower chambers. The AI core, silent for centuries, was speaking again. The Warden slammed her hand on the command panel. Seal the lower levels, she ordered. Too late. One guard replied, voice shaking. He's already accessed the archives. Then prepare the kill signal, she said coldly. If the prophecy is real, we end it now. Back in the core chamber, warning messages flashed. Containment breach imminent. Enemy signal detected within system. Kirill looked at Eli. They're trying to shut it down. He nodded. We have to get the data out. Vila appeared at the door, breathless. They activated the failsafe, she said. The prison will collapse if the core isn't shut down. But if we shut it down, Eli said, we lose everything. Silence filled the room. Then Kirill stepped forward. There's another way. She pointed to an old escape route under the machine, one only the engineers knew. If we reach the deep vault, we can copy the data and escape. But someone needs to stay and hold the connection. Vela said. Everyone turned to Eli. He looked at the glowing systems, then back at them. I'll stay, he said. was brought here for a reason. While the others began the escape, Eli remained. He pressed both hands on the control panel. The machine recognized him fully now. Override accepted. Core data stream unlocked. Information flowed into his mind like a river of light. Not just history, but languages, locations, ancient. Designs and warnings. One message repeated itself. Species null, still active. The enemy that started the war. Wasn't gone, it was still watching, still manipulating, still waiting. Suddenly, the walls trembled. A shockwave hit the chamber. The prison was collapsing. Kirill called out through the comms. "We've reached the vault." Eli smiled, eyes glowing faintly. "I'll send it now." He triggered the transfer. Data flowing to their portable device. Outside, ships had arrived, Valari command vessels, ready to destroy the entire structure. But deep inside, one human refused to leave, because the truth had to survive, because lies had ruled the stars for too long. She never wanted to betray them, not at first, but the voice in her mind had promised peace. It whispered secrets only she could hear. It showed her images of a future without war, without prisons. All she had to do was stop the human. Vila stood alone in the vault corridor, eyes closed, her fingers trembled. Not from fear, but from doubt. She had walked beside Eli, helped him, even protected him. But now, she held a device behind her back, a signal beacon, one that would lead the enemy straight to them. She opened her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "You were never meant to survive." In the control chamber, Eli staggered as the data stream slowed. The machine's voice echoed in his ears. "External disruption detected. Security breach active." Kirill's voice came through the comm. "What's going on down there?" Eli looked at the core. "Someone's blocking the upload. It's from inside the vault." The system added. Eli's heart dropped. Vila was the only one inside the vault. Outside the collapsing prison, rebel escape ships waited in orbit. Kirill paced inside the command bay, staring at the timer on her wrist. If Eli didn't finish in time, the whole prison would fall into the black storm below. One of her team members approached. "Shall we pull him out?" Kirill shook her head. "He's not done yet." But even she could feel something had gone wrong. Back in the vault, Vela placed the beacon on the ground and stepped away. The device blinked red. She closed her eyes, ready to walk away, but something stopped her. A sound, a memory, Eli's voice from earlier. "You believe in science, right? Then believe what we saw. Someone else started this war." Her hand reached toward the beacon again. Her fingers hovered above the cancel switch. Then another voice entered her mind, cold, smooth, inhuman. "You are nothing without us." It said, "Touch that switch and we erase your past." Vila's eyes filled with tears. "I just wanted to help," she whispered. The voice replied, "Then let the Guardian fall." Suddenly, the vault doors exploded open. Kirill stormed in with 2 rebel fighters. "Vela," she shouted, "what have you done?" Vela turned in shock, then guilt. "I didn't mean." Kirill spotted the beacon. Still blinking red, she fired her weapon, shattering the device. The signal was broken, but not before it had sent a short pulse. In orbit, a strange ripple appeared in space. Not a ship, not a signal, something in between. A dark shape emerged, invisible to sensors but felt in the bones of every living thing nearby. Species null had arrived. Their voice echoed through the satellite relays. Guardian identified. Purge sequence initialized. Ile felt the wave hit the chamber. The core began to shake. The lights flickered red. "They're here," he said, barely breathing. Kirill's voice came through again. "The signal brought them, but we stopped the source." Eli nodded. "Good, but it's not enough." He reached into the core again, triggering a deeper layer, one hidden even from the Valari. "Welcome. Final protocol. Starburn defense active." The machine said. A new pathway opened below the chamber, leading deeper underground. Ele looked at the map, then whispered, "There's more under this prison." A weapon meant to fight them. Karelin met him at the access gate. Vela said nothing. Ashamed, Eli looked at her calmly. You heard them, didn't you? She nodded. In my mind. They promised things, showed me things I wanted. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. Then help us stop them, for real this time. Together, they entered the tunnel, the lights growing darker the deeper they went. They passed rooms full of old machines, some broken, some glowing faintly. The deeper they went, the colder it became. At the final gate, a giant panel glowed red. Biometric access. Human and Valeri confirmed required. Karel stepped forward, pressing her hand against the panel. Eli did the same. A low hum rose around them as the gate opened, revealing a massive chamber. In the center stood a machine larger than anything they had seen. It looked like a star had been trapped inside armor. A voice spoke, ancient and deep. Judicator defense online. Target species null. Behind them, the tunnels began to collapse. The species null signal was attacking the structure directly. Karel grabbed Eli's arm. We either fight now, or we die forgotten. Eli looked up at the machine, its light reflecting in his eyes. I wasn't brought here to escape, he said. I was brought here to finish what they started. I was created before your time, forged in the dark between stars. I have no name, only purpose. To defend what breathes, to silence what corrupts. For 1,000 years I have slept beneath stone, but now the guardian has come, and I awaken. Eli stepped into the chamber of Judicator. The air felt thick alive. The machine towered above him. Glowing from within, Karel and Vela followed. Slowly, looking around with awe and fear, no one spoke. The chamber felt like a cathedral built for gods. A voice filled the space, not spoken, but felt deep in the bones. Guardian identified, Valeri confirmed. Command access granted. Circle rose from the floor, symbols glowing beneath their feet. Final lock requires shared will. The voice said. Eli turned to Karel. This is the last key, she nodded. We use it together. They stepped forward and placed their hands on the center console. The floor shook, walls shifted, and the air trembled as power surged. Through the machine, lights spiraled upward toward the ceiling, revealing stars and battlefields projected above. The past was playing out in front of them, fleets falling, planets burning, all caused by one shadow species null, in orbit, Valeri. Command ships approached the prison ruins. The warden sat inside her war cruiser, watching as a dark shape formed near the moon. An invisible force blocking light, bending space. Species null had arrived fully. Her officer looked at her with fear. They're real, he whispered. She nodded slowly, then activated the fleet-wide comm. All ships, hold fire, she said. If the Guardian is alive, he must act now. Back underground, Judicator spoke again. Initiating defense weapon calibration. Target lock. Species null beacon active in orbit. A hologram appeared in front of them, a glowing red sphere pulsing like a heart. That's what's calling them, Vela said. Karel looked at Eli. Can Judicator destroy it? Eli shook his head. Not yet. We need to connect it to both our minds. The final lock is mental, not just physical. They sat on the platform, hands on the interface. The machine began linking to their thoughts. Memories flashed. Karel. Childhood before the war. Eli's lonely life as a ship tech. Pain, guilt, fear, but also courage. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. A sharp voice entered the chamber, not Judicator, but the enemy. You still do not understand. The voice hissed. You were never meant to resist. The walls bent inward, like reality itself was folding. A shadow stepped out tall, thin, and made of shifting black light. It had no face, only presence. The first true form of species null. Vela screamed as pressure filled the room. Eli stood, body shaking. You tricked our people, he said. We guided them, the shadow replied. We gave them war to make them strong. Karel fired her weapon at the shadow. It passed through, useless. Judicator's voice boomed again. Intrusion detected, mental defense initiated. A surge of energy pushed the shadow back, but it didn't leave. It smiled, though it had no mouth. "You will die here, Guardian," it said. "You will fail like the others." Eli looked at Karail, then back at the machine. "Then let's prove them wrong," he said. They placed their hands back on the console and closed their eyes. Their minds linked: one human, one Valari, and one ancient machine. Flashes of unity surged between them. Judicator's core turned white-hot, and the final lock broke open. A weapon of light emerged from the center. Not a gun, not a bomb, but a pulse of pure code, designed to erase the Shadow's signal. Eli took the final step. He walked into the light and merged with the code. Corell screamed his name, but he turned to her with calm eyes. "This is why I was brought here," he said. "I am the key." Above, the beacon in space exploded in a silent flash. The Shadow screamed, not with sound, but with vibration, then vanished. The stars returned. The space between became calm. Species Null was gone for now. Back in the chamber, Kirill searched the room. The machine powered down. The light faded. But Ela was gone. Only a soft mark remained on the floor, his symbol, the Guardian's flame. They still speak of him, even now, among the stars. In quiet corners of space, his name is whispered like a story half remembered. The man who was locked in a prison never meant for him. The human who touched ancient flame and vanished into light. They don't know where he went, only that he never came back. But every Valari child knows the mark. A glowing flame with a circle inside it, the symbol of the Guardian. It had been 2 cycles since the fall of Species Null's signal. Peace returned slowly, not with parades, but with silence. Ships stopped firing, leaders started listening. And people finally asked the question they never dared before. What really started the war? Karail stood on the platform of the new Unity Hall. It had been built from the same crystal that once powered the prison core. Behind her, the symbol of Eli burned gently across the wall. She didn't speak often, but today, she did. "He was not chosen by prophecy," she said to the crowd. "He chose us. When he had every reason to run, we locked him away, and he still saved us." Far away, on a hidden moon, Vela worked in silence. Her lab was filled with machines she had built using fragments of Judicator's code. In her dreams, she still heard Eli's voice, not in words but in moments, the quiet hum of truth, the steady beat of hope. She had never forgiven herself for almost betraying him, but now, she honored him the only way she knew, by continuing his work, building peace. With science, not secrets. And in the deepest archives of Judicator's final memory core, a flicker remained. A small fragment of Ela's consciousness trapped in light. Not dead, not gone, just waiting. One day, the machine whispered, he would return, years earlier. In the final moments of the chamber's collapse, Karel had tried to reach him. She had screamed his name, but all she saw was light. A light that spoke one last sentence before fading. "If peace must cost me everything, then let it." The chamber had gone quiet after that, and Eli was never seen again. But the world did change. Valari no longer ruled through fear. Humans no longer acted alone. They rebuilt the prison into a learning station, a place where soldiers and scientists from both sides studied the truth. One wall of the station still held Eli's cell, untouched. Visitors came to see it, to feel what it meant to be underestimated, forgotten, and still make history. They left messages scratched into the metal. "Thank you. You were more than a prisoner. You were our last hope." One day, many years later, a small ship approached the station. It had no ID, no flag, no crew, only a black box tied to the core. When the officers opened it, they found a recording, static at first, then a voice, familiar and calm. "If you're hearing this, I'm not gone. I'm learning, watching from where they can't reach. Keep building, keep questioning, and if they return light." The flame, the message ended. But the flame symbol on the console began to glow. Same as before, same as always. Kirill heard about the message while deep in council negotiations. She stood, walked out of the meeting, and looked up at the stars. She smiled not sadly, but with pride. "He's still with us," she whispered, because Eli was never just a man. He was never just a mistake. He was the spark that lit the truth. He was the key to a door no one believed existed. They locked him in an all-female alien prison, and he unlocked the future of two worlds.